Imagine holding a cold drink in your hand on a hot day. You probably don't think twice about the can itself. You crack it open, take a sip, and move on. But that lightweight, shiny container is the result of decades of engineering decisions, global economics, and material science. Here's the intriguing part. Cans weren't always made of aluminum. In fact, they used to be made mostly of steel. So why did the world switch? Why is aluminum now the king of beverage cans? The answer is a fascinating mix of physics, cost, convenience, and even environmental strategy. Let's explore right here on History of Simple Things. To understand this shift, we need to go back in time. Early cans, especially in the early 20th century, were made from tin-plated steel, often called tin cans. Steel was strong, widely available, and already used in manufacturing, but it had some major downsides. For one, it was heavy. Transporting steel cans added significant weight to shipments, increasing fuel costs and making distribution more expensive. Also, steel cans were prone to corrosion, especially when exposed to acidic beverages like soda or fruit juices. While protective linings helped, they added complexity and cost. Then came aluminum, a material that would completely change the game. Aluminum is about 1/3 the weight of steel. That might not sound like much at first, but when you're shipping millions or even billions of cans, the savings in weight, and therefore fuel, become enormous. Lighter cans mean lower transportation costs, reduced emissions, and easier handling at every step from factory to store shelf to your hand. This alone made aluminum incredibly attractive to beverage companies. But weight is only part of the story. Aluminum is also highly malleable, meaning it can be easily shaped without breaking. This allows manufacturers to produce cans with thinner walls while still maintaining strength. Modern aluminum cans are incredibly efficient. They use minimal material while still being strong enough to hold pressurized beverages like soda and beer. Steel, on the other hand, requires thicker walls to achieve the same performance, which again adds weight and cost. Another critical advantage is corrosion resistance. Aluminum naturally forms a thin oxide layer when exposed to air, which protects it from further corrosion. This makes it ideal for storing liquids, especially those that are acidic, while aluminum cans still use internal coatings to preserve flavor and prevent reactions. The base material itself is far more resistant to rust than steel. This extends shelf life and maintains product quality, two things beverage companies care deeply about. Now let's talk about manufacturing efficiency. Aluminum cans are typically made using a process called drawing and ironing, where a single piece of aluminum is stretched and shaped into a can. This process is fast, precise, and requires fewer steps compared to traditional steel can production. The result? Lower production costs and higher output. In a competitive industry where margins matter, this efficiency is a huge advantage. There's also the question of recyclability, and this is where aluminum really shines. Aluminum can be recycled indefinitely without losing quality. That means a can you recycle today could be back on the shelf as a new can in as little as 60 days. Recycling aluminum uses up to 95% less energy than producing new aluminum from raw materials. Steel is also recyclable, but aluminum's lightweight nature and high scrap value make it far more economically attractive to recycle. In fact, aluminum cans are one of the most recycled consumer products in the world. This creates a powerful loop. Because aluminum is valuable, people are more likely to recycle it. Because it's recycled more, manufacturers can rely on a steady supply of recycled material, which reduces costs and environmental impact. It's a win-win situation that steel simply can't match at the same scale. There's also a consumer experience factor. Aluminum cans chill faster than steel due to their thermal conductivity. That means your drink gets cold quicker in the fridge or cooler, something consumers may not consciously think about but definitely appreciate. Aluminum cans are also easier to open, especially with modern pull-tab designs that were specifically developed alongside aluminum packaging. These small conveniences add up to a better overall user experience. So if aluminum is so great, why wasn't it used from the beginning? The answer comes down to cost and technology. Early aluminum production was expensive and energy-intensive. It wasn't until advances in refining processes and increased availability of electricity that aluminum became affordable on a large scale. Once those barriers were overcome, the shift from steel to aluminum accelerated rapidly, especially from the 1960s onward. Today, aluminum dominates the beverage can industry, but steel hasn't disappeared entirely. It's still used for certain food cans, especially where extra strength is needed or where cost considerations differ. However, for beverages where weight, corrosion resistance, and recyclability are critical, aluminum is simply the superior choice. In the end, the reason cans are made of aluminum instead of steel comes down to a combination of factors. It's lighter, more efficient to manufacture, more resistant to corrosion, easier to recycle, and better for both companies and consumers. It's one of those everyday objects that quietly represents a massive leap in engineering and sustainability. So the next time you crack open a soda or a cold beer, take a second to appreciate the can itself. It's not just a container, it's a carefully optimized piece of technology, shaped by decades of innovation, all designed to deliver that simple, satisfying moment when you take your first sip. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.